And now it's my turn. I do not have to explain, she says, her voice slicing into my chest like a shard of ice. She's there in the doorway, one hand on the frame, shoulders set, chin lifted. Rebecca, my wife, my partner of so many years. And I stand across the room, heart pounding, breath shallow, words caught in my throat. I want to respond, something cutting, something that would lash out and make her bleed like I'm bleeding. But nothing comes. I only manage a single guttural sound. She steps fully into the room. Her eyes drift away as though she can't stand to look directly at me. I never planned it, she continues, voice trembling just enough for me to notice. It just happened. You were so distant. And I felt lost. Jordan, he listened. He made me feel. I raise my hand, a small gesture meant to silence her. She stops talking, lips parted, ready to spill more words, more excuses. But I say nothing. Not yet. My throat burns, and everything inside me, my pride, my fury, my gut-deep sorrow, collides, sending me into a haze. I can't breathe. There's a dull roar in my head. I don't know how long we stand like that. She stares at me. I stare at the empty air between us. Part of me wants to charge forward, to grab her shoulders and demand that she see what she's done. Another part of me wants to walk away forever. Finally, my voice cracks out. Enough. It's one word, and it feels torn from my core. She flinches as if I struck her, but I haven't moved an inch. She says something else, a long stream of words about it not being my fault, about how she's confused, how she never meant to betray me. I barely register the specifics. My body's rigid, numb. My mind cycles through images. The two of them in my kitchen, hidden messages in their glances. The test I found among the clutter on the counter. The moment I realized what it meant or might mean. And the memory of her figure leaning toward him, brushing his arm. A look passing between them that no married woman should share with another man. All of it like a reel of film that never stops spinning. I speak again, low, almost choking on the words. I said enough. She goes silent. But her eyes are bright, and her lips tremble like she has more to unload. I step back, pressing my hand against the wall behind me. The old wallpaper crackles under my palm. I feel each layer of my life, each memory, peeling away from me. And I force a deep breath, trying to settle the war inside my gut. In my mind, I see them together. I try not to recall the details, her breathless whispers, the arch of her back, the glisten of sweat on his skin. But the images slam into me regardless, uninvited. I wasn't supposed to witness it. I only found out by accident, stumbling onto a trace of evidence that led me straight to the heart of her deceit. And that moment still rips at my insides. I try to keep myself composed, but something in me breaks, and I let out a ragged exhale. When did it start? I manage to say, barely above a whisper. Rebecca closes her eyes. A few months, she answers. She can't bring herself to meet my gaze. It wasn't physical at first. I swear. We just talked. It felt. She pauses, takes a shaky breath. It felt good to be heard. You were always working late, and I. She clutches the doorframe again, like she might collapse without that support. I grunt. A bitter half-laugh escapes me. A disbelieving sound. I pictured Jordan, his cocky smile, that wave tattoo on his arm, the easy charm in his stance. Younger than me, or at least he looks it. Lean, confident, the kind of man who probably thinks everything in the world is his for the taking. I remember how he used to chat with me in the break room, how he'd call me boss in this casual, almost flippant way. I never suspected him. God, I feel stupid. Get out. I say to her, my words clipped. I need. Just. Go. She hesitates. Michael. She starts, voice breaking. Go. She gives me a long, torn look, then slips out of the doorway and vanishes down the hallway. My breath comes in ragged bursts, a raging storm behind my ribs. I let my head tilt back until it thumps against the wall. Eyes shut tight, hands clenching into fists. For a moment, I can't move. I hear her footsteps fade. Silence. Then a sudden wave of painful clarity washes over me, and I push off the wall, stumbling toward the kitchen. Her mug is on the table, the one with a little heart on it, chipped at the rim. Next to it, a half-read magazine. Everything in this house is so painfully normal, like nothing's changed. But everything has changed. My marriage is a crater. I recall how, just a few days ago, I found that test. She must have left it behind accidentally when she was rushing to hide her tracks. It's what opened my eyes, the possibility that she's pregnant, and I'm not the father. I remember the iron spike of terror I felt, and the searing anger that followed. I feel a hollow in my chest, like a rusted pipe that might burst at any second. My own father used to say a man shouldn't cry, that tears are for the weak. So I don't cry. Instead, I stand there, raging and numb, trying to decide my next move. Slowly, I exhale, half expecting my breath to come out black with the toxins swirling inside me. And then I think of Jordan. I see him in my mind, smirking, that wave inked into his forearm. My hands clench, nails biting my palms. He's the man who is not me but had my wife. The man I'll see at work. The man who sits 3 desks away in a corridor I walk every day. Something primal surges in me. My mouth goes dry. That's when I realize I have to face him. The next day, the first thing I do is check if he's in the office. Our building is one of those bland modern structures that smell like printer toner and stale coffee. I walk in earlier than normal, footsteps echoing on polished floors. I find his workspace empty. I stand there for a moment, staring at his chair. My pulse hammers. A part of me wants to yank that chair from beneath his body and smash it to pieces. Another part of me wants to sink into a corner and disappear from my own life. He arrives a bit later. I hear him laughing with someone near the elevator. That friendly confidence in his tone. I step out of my office, and there he is in the hallway, a folder under one arm, looking at a coworker with that easy grin. Then he catches sight of me. The grin falters. It's quick, almost imperceptible, but I notice. He knows I know. I jerk my head, gesturing for him to follow me. We don't speak. We walk down the corridor toward an unused office. Once inside, I lock the door. The air feels stale, and dust motes dance in the rays of morning light through the blinds. He sets the folder on an old desk, stands, tries to meet my eyes. I wait, my jaw clenched, arms crossed. How long? I ask flatly. Jordan exhales, rubs the back of his neck. Michael, listen, man. How long? I insist, one syllable at a time. My entire body trembles. He lowers his voice. A few months, but it was just. It started off as. I lunge forward, grabbing the front of his shirt. He staggers back, knocking the chair behind him to the floor with a metallic crash. My face is inches from his. He's breathing fast. I can feel the heat coming off him, like I'm about to consume him in my rage. You took my wife. I growl, each word clipped. My wife. His eyes dart to the side. It's not like that. Shut up. He does. I see real fear flicker in his gaze. For a moment, neither of us moves. Then I let go of his shirt, stepping back as if touching him burned my skin. He coughs, straightens his collar. The tension in the room is thick enough to choke us both. My chest heaves, my mind swirling with images of them together. Her nails on his shoulder, his mouth on her neck. My stomach turns. Pack your things, I whisper. You're done here. Understand? He looks like he might protest, but he reads the look in my eyes. He nods, pressing his lips together. Yes, he manages, voice unsteady. I stand aside while he picks up the folder from the desk. He avoids my gaze. When he's at the door, he pauses, hand on the knob. I expect him to say something. Maybe an apology. maybe one last jab. But he leaves without another word. As soon as the door shuts, I let out a breath, leaning against the wall. My pulse roars in my ears. I have the power to fire him. I've done it. But that doesn't erase what happened. Later, I stare at the vacant desk that was once his. Coworkers buzz. The tension is suffocating. We're still so close physically, yet an entire ocean of betrayal lies between us. I had to, I say. One short sentence. She nods, eyes downcast. We stand in silence, the fridge humming. My gaze drifts to the table, to that chip in her favorite mug, to the vase of wilting flowers by the window. She says, "I don't blame you." I remain quiet. My eyes lock on her face, reading every subtle line. I notice the faint freckles on her cheeks, the tear tracks dried on her skin. My wife, the woman I trusted. Anger flares again, and with it, a suffocating sadness. Slowly, I step closer. I lean in, voice low, brittle. "Did you love him?" She draws a shaky breath. "No, I don't think so. She struggles for words. I felt alone. I needed to feel alive, I guess. And it wasn't love. I swear it wasn't." I nod once. My throat is tight, like a vise around my windpipe. Her words swirl in my head. Needed to feel alive. And what am I, if not the man who was supposed to make her feel alive? My fists clench. "I'm going to bed," I say abruptly, turning away. She tries to speak, but I ignore it, heading down the hallway. My footsteps sound hollow on the floor. In the bedroom, I sit on the edge of the mattress, stare at the wall. My head throbs. I feel older, heavier, as if years have passed since I discovered her betrayal. Eventually, I lie back and stare at the ceiling until I drift into a shallow, haunted sleep. It's just after dawn when I wake with a start. My heart pounds, sweat on my brow. I'd been dreaming of them, Rebecca and Jordan, the flicker of candlelight on bare skin, the hush of secret moans. I groan, pressing my hands to my eyes, trying to blot out the images. I force myself up, slip on jeans, a shirt. The house is silent. She must still be asleep. I slip outside onto the porch, inhaling the crisp morning air, letting it sting my lungs. A swirl of emotion slams me again. Rage, regret, longing, heartbreak, all tangled. In that moment, a strange thought crosses my mind. A man should not cry. That's what my father always said, hammered into my head. So I don't let the tears out. I hold them back, swallowing them like knives. I stay there on the porch, arms folded against the chill, mind drifting over the months that led to this. The double shifts I pulled at work, the nights I came home late to find her already asleep. I recall the dinners I missed, the conversations we never finished, the everyday touches that seemed to fade away. I want to resent her for stepping outside our marriage, but a small whisper inside me wonders if I helped build this distance. That whisper disgusts me, because it implies I share the blame. And in this moment, I'm not ready to let go of my anger. Eventually, I hear a sound behind me. She stands there, arms wrapped around herself, hair tousled from sleep. "Michael," she says softly. I feel my jaw tighten. Her voice is so close, so familiar, and yet I recoil from it. I don't turn around. She steps forward, comes closer, and the tension in me coils. "I'm sorry," she says, her voice fragile, straining to stay steady. I hate what I did. I stare at the empty street, the cars parked along the curb. My voice is cold, clipped. Too late. She presses on, though her words tumble out in a shaky rush. "I don't want to lose you. I know you hate me right now. Maybe you'll never forgive me. But I still want to try. I want to make us okay again." "Okay again," I echo softly. "How?" She hesitates. "I don't know. I just know that I can't undo what I've done. But maybe I can show you that." "Stop." I turn, pinning her with my gaze. Stop. Your words mean nothing right now. She exhales, face crumpling in despair. Please, Michael. I turn away. I need time, I say, voice barely above a growl. Space. Something. She nods, tears collecting at the corners of her eyes. I understand. I'll give you time. I watch her retreat back into the house, leaving me alone once again. My stomach churns. I wonder if time will heal this, or if I'm deluding myself. The sun climbs higher, and the day stretches ahead, filled with tasks and routines that all feel meaningless. Work is a nightmare. Everywhere I turn, people whisper about Jordan leaving. Some ask me directly, "Hey, boss, what happened?" I give clipped answers. He moved on. That's all. Or, he wasn't a good fit. I sense curiosity in their eyes, maybe suspicion, but nobody presses. Probably they see the tension bristling off me like static electricity. They steer clear. Good. I throw myself into tasks, burying my mind in spreadsheets, phone calls, logistics planning. But the constant ache in my chest never subsides. During lunch, I wander outside, find a bench. My appetite is gone, so I sip a coffee and stare at the sky, trying to guess how I reached this place in my life. All the years of building a marriage, weaving daily routines, forging memories, undone in the blink of an eye. Or maybe it wasn't a blink. It was a slow unraveling that I failed to notice. A coworker emerges from the building, waves politely, sees my face, then moves on without a word. I welcome the solitude. Closing my eyes, I try to breathe. My father's voice reverberates in my head once more. A man should not cry. Fine. Then I won't. But the tears threaten to come anyway. I hold them back like a dam about to burst. When my lunch break ends, I return inside and resume my methodical routine. By the time I leave the office, it's late again. I dread going home, stepping into that quiet kitchen, seeing her eyes brimming with guilt or the traces of tears on her cheeks. But I can't stay here forever, so eventually I gather my bag and trudge out to my car. At home, the lights are low. She's cooking something, stirring a pot on the stove. The smell of soup wafts through the air. Comfort food. I used to love that smell. Tonight, it makes me feel nauseous. She glances over her shoulder when she hears me enter. "Hi," she says softly. I nod, set my keys on the counter, and stand there. The air between us crackles with tension, but we both try to pretend we're normal people living a normal life. She ladles the soup into a bowl, places it on the table. "Eat," she murmurs. "Please." I sit down stiffly, swirl the spoon in the broth without any real intention of eating. She sits across from me, hands clasped. For a minute, we sit in silence. Finally, I lift the spoon to my lips and take a sip. The flavors land on my tongue like ash, but I force it down. She releases a breath, relieved. We share a stilted meal, words hardly spoken, eyes hardly meeting. When I stand to leave the table, she reaches out, her hand brushing mine. I freeze. Her touch used to be so warm, so comforting. Now it feels foreign. I gently pull my hand away. She doesn't argue. She just lowers her head, acceptance etched in every line of her posture. I leave the house soon after, unable to bear it any longer. I drive aimlessly through the streets, passing closed shops, quiet neighborhoods. A swirl of emotions churn inside me, and my mind keeps drifting back to that test I found on the counter. Could she be carrying Jordan's child? Has she seen a doctor? My imagination conjures scenarios too painful to process. I grip the steering wheel until my knuckles go white. Eventually, I end up in a parking lot near the river, the dark waters gliding past under flickering streetlights. I park, kill the engine. Silence engulfs me. My breath comes ragged. I rest my forehead on the steering wheel, eyes shut. There's an agony so deep inside my chest that for a moment I think I might die from it. Time slips by. I don't know how long I sit there. The air in the car grows stale. I crack the window, Let the night breeze brush against my face. At some point, I realize I'm trembling. With rage, with sorrow, with something I can't name. A man should not cry. So I don't, even though my eyes sting. I swallow everything, choke it down, bury it deep. Then I start the engine and drive back home. The days move in slow, painful increments, each one a replay of the last. Rebecca tries to talk, tries to connect, but I recoil, giving her one-word answers, halting her attempts with a glare or a dismissive grunt. Meanwhile, the memory of Jordan and her together refuses to leave me. I see it every time I close my eyes. My sleep is disturbed, haunted by the half-formed images of their union. One evening, she corners me in the hallway. "We can't go on like this," she pleads, tears glistening. "Michael, please, we have to talk. Even if it hurts." I stare at her, my face blank. "Talk." She falters, then plunges into a lengthy explanation. How lonely she felt, how it started innocently, how it turned physical only after weeks of building tension. She begs me to believe she never wanted to replace me, never wanted to ruin our life. I listen, silent, my heart pounding in my ears. She speaks in long, twisting sentences, searching for the right words to reach me. Finally, she falls silent, eyes brimming with tears. "You finished?" I say. She nods, half sobbing. "Yes." I close my eyes. My voice sounds dead to my own ears when I speak. "I can't just forgive. You broke us." Her shoulders slump. She opens her mouth to respond, but I slip past her, shutting myself in the bedroom. I sink onto the bed, numb. Outside, I can hear her crying softly, a low, choking sound. A part of me wants to comfort her, to hold her. Another part wants to rage at her, to throw her out. Instead, I close my eyes and drift into darkness, the sound of her muffled sobs trailing into my sleep. A week passes before I gather the nerve to confront the lingering question. The pregnancy test. Late one night, after a dinner of forced politeness, I clear my throat. "Rebecca." She looks up, hopeful that I'm about to talk. "Yes." I struggle to get the words out. "That test, the one you left on the counter. Tell me, is it? Are you?" She looks stricken. "No," she breathes. "I'm not. It was a scare. I didn't know how to tell you." My chest tightens. Relief, anger, confusion all swirl. "So you knew it might be his." She winces, nods. "I'm so sorry." I bite back a wave of fury. Slowly, I turn away, focusing on the pattern of the wallpaper instead of her face. At least I don't have to grapple with that horror. Small comfort. My jaw aches from clenching it so hard. Neither of us speaks again that night. The tension at home gnaws at me. My father's words echo in my mind more than ever. A man should not cry. So instead, I lash out in small ways. Silences, glares, slammed doors. Each day, the distance between Rebecca and me grows. She tries to breach it, but I keep pulling back, punishing her with coldness, punishing myself in the process. One Saturday morning, I wake up to find her gone. For a moment, panic flickers in me. Did she leave me for good? Then I see a note on the table. "I'm at my parents' for the weekend. I need some space too." My throat constricts. The house feels hollow, every corner echoing my lonely footsteps. I wander from room to room, fists in my pockets, remembering the times we laughed, the times we bickered but quickly made up. All that warmth, replaced by a chill I can't chase away. A memory surfaces. Years ago, we couldn't afford fancy furniture, so I drew a makeshift rectangle on the floor with chalk and told her, "That's our bed." We piled blankets, made it ours, laughing about how it was cozier than any expensive mattress. The recollection hurts more than I can bear now. I slump onto the couch, numb, and let the hours slip by. My phone stays silent. I want to text her, demand she come back, but my pride forbids it. That night, I drift in a haze, swirling old regrets, bitterness, and faint stabs of longing. On Sunday afternoon, she returns. There's a heaviness in her step as she sets down her overnight bag. I stand in the living room, arms crossed, silent. She meets my eyes briefly, then looks away. Her posture droops, as though she expects more punishment. I almost want to ease her burden, but I don't. She clears her throat. I want us to talk about counseling. I raise an eyebrow. Counseling. Yes. Marriage counseling. Therapy. Anything. I can't do this alone, and clearly we need outside help. My immediate reaction is scorn. The idea of spilling my guts to a stranger, of letting them pick apart my pain. Yet a voice inside me whispers that I'm drowning, that maybe I need a lifeline. My arms tighten over my chest. Maybe, I say. One word. Hope flashes across her face. We could try, just once, see how it goes. I shrug, non-committal. We'll see. Then I turn away. She exhales, and for a moment, there's silence. I sense her disappointment, but she knows not to push me right now. In the days that follow, I can't stop replaying everything. My anger seeps into every corner of my life. In my head, I keep seeing Jordan. Even though he's gone, I imagine his presence, mocking me. At night, I lie awake, listening to her breathing. Sometimes I wonder if I'll ever touch her again. Sometimes I want to bury my face in her hair, hold her tight, feel the shape of her body. Then I remember him. My blood boils. One evening, weeks after the initial confrontation, I come home late to find her pacing the living room. She's wearing an old sweater, hair pinned back, eyes shadowed. She stops when she sees me. We need to go to counseling, she states firmly. I made an appointment with someone recommended by a friend. We go next Tuesday. Something in me snaps. My anger flares, but it's overshadowed by a strange calm, a sense of finality. All right, I say quietly. Fine. She looks almost surprised at my acquiescence, then relief. Thank you. She goes on with a longer explanation. How this counselor helped her friend's marriage. How maybe it could do the same for us. I listen with a blank expression, giving an occasional nod, but my insides are a tumult of emotions. I'm still not sure if I want to fix this or if I just want to watch it burn. Tuesday arrives. We drive to the counselor's office in silence, each lost in our own thoughts. Inside, the waiting room smells like lavender. Soft music plays. My stomach churns. When we're called in, a calm-faced counselor greets us, invites us to sit on a comfortable couch. The room is decorated in warm tones, a box of tissues on the coffee table. We begin. The counselor's voice is low, soothing. She asks about us, our history, what brought us here. Rebecca answers with paragraphs, describing the breakdown of our communication, the nights I worked late, the loneliness she felt. She skims over the affair, then glances at me with guilt in her eyes. The counselor turns to me. I stare at my hands. Words fail. Finally, I let out a short, "She cheated." Rebecca's eyes brim with tears, but she nods. Yes, I did. The counselor's gaze shifts between us, encouraging me to elaborate. So I speak, haltingly, about my sense of betrayal, about the image seared into my mind of her with him. My voice is flat, as if coming from a place buried 6 feet under. I admit I fired him. I mention the test I found. By the time I finish, my throat feels raw. I realize I've said more in 5 minutes than I have in weeks at home. Rebecca tries to hold my hand. I pull away gently, focusing on the floor. The session is excruciating. By the time it ends, I'm exhausted. The counselor suggests we return next week, maybe consider separate sessions to process our individual feelings. Rebecca nods eagerly. I grunt in assent. When we leave, we don't speak. The ride home is silent, but something in me feels different, like a small valve has opened, letting a bit of pressure escape. Maybe it's the act of speaking about it. Maybe it's the sense that someone outside our marriage sees my pain. I don't know yet. The next few weeks pass in a haze of counseling sessions, awkward dinners, and nights spent in separate corners of the house. Sometimes, in those sessions, I speak more than I mean to. Memories surface, my father's stoic lessons, the absence of real emotional expression in my upbringing. Anger, shame, heartbreak swirl together. The counselor tries to guide me through them, but each step feels like walking on shattered glass. Rebecca, for her part, confesses her guilt, her regret, her confusion. She begs me to understand that she never wanted to destroy us. "I still love you," she says, voice trembling. I never stopped. I remain guarded, uncertain if her love is something I can trust again. I can't forget the slow, methodical betrayal, the calls, the text messages, the final crossing of physical lines. Sometimes, a wave of pure hatred for Jordan resurfaces, but I already took my revenge by firing him. It felt hollow afterward. Time crawls, and we stumble through a cycle of partial healing and sudden flashbacks. It's a dance between me wanting to move forward and me wanting to tear down everything we built. Late one night, while lying in bed, I hear her shift on her side. We're back to sharing a bed. Though we don't touch, she whispers, "I miss you." I stare at the ceiling, silent, but my heart wrenches in my chest. Neither of us sleeps well. Climax arrives on a day like any other. The counselor pushes us to talk about the affair in detail, Rebecca's motivations, the gap she felt, and my role in that gap. The notion that I bear any blame enrages me. As we drive home, we argue, or rather, she tries to elaborate while I spew clipped, furious accusations. We arrive at the house, the sun setting. Inside, something explodes between us. She says, "I never wanted to replace you. I was desperate for something I thought you couldn't give me anymore." And I snap. "Stop making excuses." "It's not an excuse," she retorts, eyes flashing. "It's the truth. You were never home. We stopped talking. Jordan was there. I felt seen. You wanted to feel alive." I say, spitting the words back at her. "So you crawled into his bed." "That's not fair," she cries, tears in her eyes. It wasn't just. I slam my fist on the table, rattling the plates. "Then tell me exactly how it happened. Every detail. You want to talk? Fine. Let's talk." My voice shakes with fury, but also a twisted desire to hear what she did, to confirm the ugliness I imagine in my head. She hesitates, glancing at me as though I've gone mad. "You don't want me to." "I do." I cut her off, voice raw. "Show me. Let me see what you did." Her face crumples in agony. She tries to speak, but no words emerge at first. Finally, with ragged breaths, she describes the moments they crossed the line. How a casual evening of drinks turned into a night of confessions. How he kissed her, and she didn't pull away. How they ended up pressed against the couch, her breath hitching in her throat, the taste of his skin. I clench my fists, nails biting my palms so hard I might bleed. "Stop," I rasp, halfway through her explanation. "No more." She breaks down, sobbing. "I'm sorry," she repeats like a mantra. Her tears fall, and I watch them with a hollow gaze. Part of me wants to comfort her. Another part wants to smash something, anything, to release the torrent raging in my chest. Slowly, I turn and walk out of the room, leaving her collapsed on the couch, face buried in her hands. I stomp down the hallway, breathing like a wounded animal. My mind replays her words, each sentence a knife in my gut. A man should not cry, I remind myself. My vision blurs anyway. My throat burns. I taste salt on my lips. I head outside, slamming the door behind me. The sky is turning purple with dusk. I stand there, chest heaving. Then I unleash a long, trembling exhale. I break. My tears come, silent, unstoppable, for the first time since I can remember. It's not a loud sob. It's just tears streaming down my face. each drop fueled by betrayal and heartbreak, and that sense of having failed as a husband, as a man. I stand in the yard, away from any prying eyes, letting the night air swallow my silent devastation. When I finally go back in, she's upstairs in the bedroom. I can hear her sniffles. I make my way to the kitchen, pour a glass of water, and stare at the reflection of my tired face in the window. It's like seeing a stranger. I feel old, worn, stripped of illusions, but amid the numbness, a cold determination settles in. I recall the counselor's words about moving forward. Either you choose to rebuild, or you choose to walk away. Upstairs, I find her sitting on the edge of the bed, face pale. She looks up at me, eyes swollen from crying. "Michael," she says shakily, "I want to fix this, but if you can't forgive me, I understand." I stand there, saying nothing. Then, in a voice drained of warmth, I whisper, "I'm not leaving." A flood of emotion crosses her face. Relief, guilt, fear, hope. Thank you, she breathes. "I swear, I'll do anything. I'll spend the rest of my life making it right." I hold up a hand, stopping her. Don't promise things you can't guarantee." She nods, tears slipping down her cheeks again. "I won't. I want you to know I'll keep trying." I exhale, then step forward, placing my hand under her chin. She trembles at the contact. My voice is rough, my eyes still stinging. "We're going to keep going to counseling, keep talking, keep confronting this, but I'm not sure we'll ever be the same." Her eyes flood with pain, but she nods. I understand. In that moment, something shifts between us, like the faintest glimmer of understanding. A decision to see if we can mend what's broken instead of letting it rot. But it's fragile, precarious. One false move and it could all collapse. Weeks pass. We push through the therapy, the nightly discussions, the emotional flashbacks. It's brutal, messy. Sometimes I lash out. Sometimes she sobs inconsolably. Sometimes we sit in silence until one of us breaks, blurting truths we've kept bottled up for years. Piece by piece, we excavate the ruins of our marriage, searching for anything worth salvaging. We begin to share small gestures again, a hand on a shoulder, a brief hug. She stops flinching at my presence. I stop throwing words like knives. Slowly, carefully, we attempt to rebuild trust. Though a part of me can't forget the shape of her body pressed to someone else's, there are nights I wake from nightmares, drenched in sweat, haunted by the memory of them. She soothes me, if I let her. Sometimes I think about Jordan, wonder where he ended up. Has he moved on to a new job, a new city, a new conquest? The thought no longer ignites the same fury. There's still resentment, but I focus on us, on whether I can find a way to see my wife as she once was, a partner, a companion, someone I can trust with my life. The process is slow and excruciating, but day by day, I feel a shift in my chest, as if the shattered fragments are attempting to realign. The counselor encourages an honest confrontation of our unresolved anger. One evening, after a particularly raw session, I turn to Rebecca in the car. "I'm still furious," I say in a clipped tone. "I don't know if that will ever leave me." She answers with a quiver in her voice. "I accept that. I just hope you'll let me help you carry it." I grip the steering wheel. We'll see. Over more time, maybe months, I lose track. Something resembling acceptance begins to blossom. It isn't forgiveness exactly. It's more like a wary truce. She invests effort, changing her routines, making sure we have dinner together, asking about my day. Sometimes I let her in, other times I push her away. She takes it, every bit of it, refusing to abandon me the way she once abandoned our vows. One night, after another therapy session, we find ourselves in the living room. She closes the curtains, and I sense a shift in the air. We end up sitting on the couch, and she places a gentle hand on my knee, tears brimming in her eyes as she whispers, "I love you." I swallow hard, mind racing with memories, good and bad. Then, haltingly, I lean forward and press my forehead to hers. We stay like that for a moment, breathing each other in, neither speaking. Eventually, I kiss her, a gentle, trembling kiss filled with unresolved hurt and flickers of hope. It isn't a magical fix. When our bodies come together that night, there's a desperation, a clumsiness, an undercurrent of pain. But there's also a raw honesty, the recognition of how easily we can lose what we took for granted. In the darkness, I bury my face against her neck. She holds me, whispering apologies, confessions, and promises. I feel tears on her skin. Hers or mine, I'm not sure. A man should not cry. But tears come anyway, silent and unstoppable, mixing with the sweat on our bodies. Afterward, we lie side by side, breathing unevenly in the hush of the bedroom. My thoughts reel. I'm not healed. She's not redeemed. But there's a crack of light in the gloom. A chance that maybe we'll endure this after all. In therapy, I speak about the concept of revenge. I share how firing Jordan was supposed to be my payback, but it left me feeling hollow. The counselor nods thoughtfully, challenging me to see that my deeper revenge might be choosing to rebuild rather than letting the affair destroy me. The idea resonates in a strange way. I realize I don't want to define my life by bitterness. I want something better. Maybe that's the real revenge, refusing to let the betrayal cripple me forever. Still, the journey remains fraught with setbacks. Some days, anger roars back. I recall the smell of him on her, and I retreat into silence. She tries to coax me out, sometimes succeeding, sometimes failing. Each success is a small victory, each failure a reminder of how fragile our truce is. One evening, after we've weathered countless storms of guilt, tears, half-reconciliations, and therapy sessions, I stand in the living room, gazing at a photograph of us taken years ago. We look so young, so hopeful. I feel Rebecca's presence behind me. She touches my shoulder tentatively. I tense for a moment, then exhale, and let her hand stay. She speaks in a soft, trembling voice. I wish I could erase what I did. I swallow the lump in my throat. I know. She rests her cheek against my back. I'll keep trying, she whispers. Whatever it takes. Silence hangs. Slowly, I turn, meeting her eyes. My voice comes out quiet, raw. So will I. And I mean it. There's a flicker of determination in my gut. It's not some grand romantic gesture. It's a vow to myself that I won't let this betrayal define me entirely. I'll carry it, yes, but I'll also keep walking. If she walks beside me, maybe we'll find our way back to something resembling love. One final therapy session marks a turning point. The counselor suggests we trust each other enough to share our vulnerabilities without fear of judgment. I stare at Rebecca. She offers a small smile, tears shining in her eyes. I realize that I do want to trust again, for my own sake, as much as hers. When we leave the office, we stand outside in the fading daylight. Her hand slides into mine, tentative but hopeful. I let her fingers lace through mine. Our gazes lock, and neither of us looks away. I think about the vow I made when we married. The vow I thought was destroyed. Perhaps it's not destroyed, just battered, scared, but maybe salvageable. She says quietly, "Thank you." I nod. Don't thank me yet. But there's a ghost of a smile on my lips, and she sees it. We drive home together, silent, each lost in thought. In my mind, I see a flicker of the future, pain still present, but maybe overshadowed by a renewed sense of connection if we keep fighting for it. My father's words drift through my memory like an echo, but I realize I'm finally letting go of that rigid code. A man can cry, and still be a man. Inside the house, the evening is quiet. We stand in the dimly lit living room. There's a sense of finality in the air, like we've crossed the threshold of raw heartbreak and stepped onto a path that might lead to something new, if not entirely unblemished. I pull her gently to me, inhaling the scent of her hair, feeling her heart beating against my chest. She looks up, tears in her eyes, and I see something there. Remorse, yes, but also love. And maybe, just maybe, redemption. Michael, she whispers, her voice trembling with emotion. I interrupt softly. It's okay. She nods, and we stand there, time stretching. For a moment, we hold each other like we're afraid to let go. Maybe tomorrow we'll argue again, maybe the memories will sting. But right now, there's a fragile peace between us. I step back, feeling a flood of exhaustion and relief roll over me. My heart thumps a slow, heavy beat in my chest, but it's calmer than it's been in a long time. I reach for the lamp on the side table, fingers hovering over the switch. Our eyes lock, and I see her lips quiver, see the silent question in her gaze. Can we make it? In a voice that comes from deep within my battered soul, I answer her unspoken question. We'll try. Her eyes brim with tears, and she bows her head in gratitude or surrender. I don't know which. A beat passes, thick with emotion, and then I flick the switch. The light goes out,